With limited time game mode like Leagues and old school RuneScape, it can sometimes be done in trying to figure out how best to use the time you have to get the most out of the experience. We're already 3 weeks deep into Leagues 4, Trailblazer Reloaded, so I've made a list of some of my most important things I've learned in my journey so far. Some of this list will be specific activities across the game, and some things are more related to mindset, or cover a wider group of similar in-game activities to account for the differences you might have in your regional choices. Whatever the case may be, I'm here to keep you from spending hours researching things about the league instead of simply playing it. So settle in and get to AFKing a tree or something. After all, I am. Here are the 10 things you absolutely must do during Leagues 4 Trailblazer Reloaded. This first tip may seem like low-hanging fruit, but it's important. You should work towards unlocking all of your relics as soon as you can, if you haven't already. Many of the major grinds in RuneScape, such as maxing skills or obtaining items from bosses, can often require a lot of repetition of the same task. Passive abilities tied to each tier of relics are not to be ignored, though they can be easily missed if you don't notice the button to open them. Simply put, a tier 8 character gains 16 times as much experience as a tier 1 character, and is 5 times as likely to receive better loot everywhere in the game. It's crucial not to commit yourself to any massive grinds before the relics are done for this reason. You don't want to kill a boss 250 times if you can kill it 50 times for the same drop after tearing yourself up a bit. By the same merit, if you need to build 73 demonic thrones to max out your construction, it might be worth getting that next relic online first. Maybe then you only need to do 32. The next tip sort of goes hand in hand with the previous one, but it's to make sure you actually are making use of your relics. Don't pick relics you're unlikely to use in the hope that it will make tasks you don't enjoy more fun. If you hate Slayer, picking the Slayer relic isn't going to make it more fun for you. It's just going to mean that you don't get as much value out of your relic at that tier than if you pick something you're more likely to do in game. Shoring up your weaknesses is never a bad thing, don't get me wrong. Just be prepared to do whatever activity your relics want you to do, because that's how you'll get the most value out of them. Additionally, when you're given a choice of a new relic, try to consider how it might interact with other aspects of your build. A good example of this would be pairing Berserker with Undying Retribution. If you're going to be low health all the time, it never hurts to have an extra life in your back pocket. The most important thing is just to make sure you pick relics you actually plan to utilise. My third tip is to claim as much free experience as you possibly can. There are a ton of ways in RuneScape you can earn experience in a skill without training it via traditional methods. From minigames to achievement diaries to fossils to quest rewards, there are loads of little experience care packages just waiting for you to pick them up. Don't forget to talk to this chick in the museum after you gain kudos in case she has more free skill and XP for you. And each time you unlock a region or do a bunch of quests, check in with my man Minus up here, tell him about your day. He might just give you a lamp or two for your trouble. Don't neglect those achievement diaries either. An elite diary is worth 800,000 experience in any skill once you have your relics online. To put that into perspective, that's enough to get a level 1 skill you've been completely neglecting all the way up to level 70. Quest rewards are just as profitable with high multipliers, so make sure before you unlock a new region, it isn't about to automatically complete a bunch of quests that you can do for big experience rewards. And speaking of big experience rewards, tip 4 is not to ignore your minigames. It took me far too long to visit Soul Wars in this leagues, and in just about 3 hours of time there, I hit 99 prayer. This is because minigames multipliers are also in effect this leagues, meaning I earned 8 times the normal amount of zeal. Not only that, I was trading the zeal in for experience, which in turn was multiplied 16 times. The math works out here that for every 1 zeal I earned in Soul Wars, it's worth 128 times as much experience as it usually is, which is a truly staggering amount. There are a bunch more minigames like this with comparable rewards like Pest Control, Temporos, Guardians of the Rift, and Winter Todd. You may also be pleasantly surprised by the way some of your relics interact during these minigames. When I instantly cooked a full inventory of fish at Temporos, and 7 more paddlefish spawned underneath me completely free of charge, my mind was genuinely blown. I never fish a full inventory anymore. The point is, do whatever minigames you have access to, especially Soul Wars, because everybody has access to that, and maxed out combat stats are easy when you get 128 times experience from your Zeal. This fifth tip is more mindset oriented, and it's to always have a goal. I'm not talking about wanting to reach the top of the leaderboards, but more so knowing what your objective is each time you sit down to play the game. This can be as simple as completing tasks, and until you have your Relics online, this will be your main focus. If you didn't know, you can actually link your account progress with the Wikisync plugin on RuneLite. This, combined with the Wiki's feature of inputting both the region you've unlocked, as well as the ones you plan to unlock, can allow you to filter and sort the task list to give you an easy way of finding your next dose of league points. If you're hunting tasks, I recommend filtering it down to just your unlocked regions, removing completed tasks, then sorting the list by the percentage of players that have completed each task. This means the top results are the tasks you haven't done that the most other people have, meaning they're likely something that is relatively easy to achieve. Once you're done with your relics, your goal will diverge to something broader such as leveling or obtaining new gear. Nevertheless, it's still just as important to keep setting yourself goals and working to achieve them as you play. Tip 6 is simple. Use your crystal memories more. However much you're currently using it, I'm here to tell you it's not enough. This shiny little ball can do anything you could possibly imagine. Use it for skipping running back and forth in quests. Use it to runecraft. Use it for banking. Use it for clue steps. Use it to special attack 4 times to kill a Slayer boss, then teleport to an altar, restoring everything before appearing back at the boss to do it all over again. Seriously, this thing can really do anything. Use it for construction, use it for cooking. Actually, probably don't use it for that, you can do better. But use it more than you do now because it's not enough. Give me a moment, I've got to activate mine and take these magic logs to the bank. Now the 7th tip may be scary for some, but it's necessary. You've got to learn to step outside of your comfort zone. So far this leagues, I've learned how to kill Musper, Forcath, Tribrid DKs, fan the ever-living fuck out of the Leviathan, cheese Calfight Queen, finally crack expert level raids, do the first 3 Zuck challenges, die a couple times to Duke, and most recently, I've started to learn the Inferno. Granted, I've only been up to wave 23 during my hour or so of attempting it, but I'm pushing myself to do harder challenges than I ever thought I could. Leagues is the perfect opportunity to push yourself and learn new content that you'd usually be too underleveled or undergeared to do in the main game. You never know, learning it in Leagues could reveal that you actually can do it in the main game, you just underestimated yourself all along. Step outside of your comfort zone, try harder things, learn how they work so you can take that knowledge and confidence back to the main game. You'll thank me for it. And speaking of challenging yourself, you need to get a fire cape this leagues. If you haven't already conquered the fight caves, trust me, you can do it. The worst thing that can happen is you die and try again, but eventually you'll get to Jad, and then you'll die to Jad, and then you'll get to Jad and die when his healers spawn, and then you'll get to Jad and smoke his boots and walk out with a fresh fire cape on your back. It may be a daunting prospect, but owning that cape is far more important in Leagues 4 than simply the stat bonuses it provides, though those are nothing to sniff at. It means you can enter the inner city of Moral Wreck. Open up access to the best ore and gem store a fire sailor could possibly dream of, the only way to access Onyx jewellery unless you farm in Zulrah in Taranwin or Skatizo in Zaya, as well as obtaining obsidian armour and all the league points that come with it. Moral Wreck is an absolute goldmine during Leagues, whether you have fire sale or not. There's plenty you're going to need here, but to get in, you're going to need that cape. Alright, and now for a tip that will actually help you to push yourself to do all that harder content. In Leagues 4, it's pretty easy to cheese the vast majority of encounters with your primary style that you selected with your tier 4 relic. What I mean is, if you picked Archer's Embrace, range everything. It doesn't matter if an enemy is weak to range, it's weak to your range, because you buffed it to high hell with the relic. You can absolutely disrespect half of the mechanics in the game by just sticking with one style, which in turn gives you more breathing room to learn how they work, improving your gameplay. There are some things that you have to attack appropriately, of course. There's no way getting around having to switch styles on Akka, But the rest of Tombs, outside of P2 Wardens, is doable on whatever style you have picked. This is just an example I'm more familiar with, but it applies to a lot of other areas as well. Besides, the more you use your primary style, the more fun you're going to have. After all, you probably picked it because it sounded fun. Go have fun. And that is actually my 10th tip. Have fun. This is a video game, and as much as it's fulfilling to pressure ourselves to improve and reach new heights, it's just as important to remember why we play the game in the first place. RuneScape is fun. Leagues cuts out a lot of the unfun portions of the game, leaving you with all the good stuff you actually want to do. Take advantage of that, and don't stress over how well you're doing or comparing yourself to others. Just have a blast, because there's only so long before the league ends, and you no longer have that opportunity. I wholeheartedly endorse improving as much as you can and striving to greater achievements. Just don't forget to have fun on the way. And those are my 10 tips for things you must do before Leagues 4 is over. If you're new here, so am I. But I've been having so much fun making RuneScape content for the past month or so now, growing the community, blasting out videos pretty much every day during Leagues. If you want to check out my POV from day 1 to futures we've yet to reach, I'd love to have you join me for the journey. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like to let me know you appreciate the content I'm creating and that I should keep doing it. Feel free to leave a comment down below with your own Leagues 4 tips for the community, and hit the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all my content. There's plenty more coming from me, both in and outside of Leagues. Alright, that's all from me. Take care of yourself, be lovely to one another, and I'll see you on the next one.